Welcome to P6 2012 PSLE paper review. Watching this video or just simply clicking this video is your first step to getting your desired grades for PSLE. So I have actually put up a motivational video for you guys in case you are struggling to find a purpose to study. See you after the motivational video. Peace out.
Have you ever wondered why some people seem luckier than others? The harder you work, the luckier you get. In the next few seconds, you'll discover the magic behind this saying. Effort isn't just about any work, it's about persistence and smart strategies. Consistent action leads to opportunities you never imagined. Keep pushing forward, even when the going gets tough. Success isn't an accident, it's a result of hard work and dedication. Each step you take brings you closer to your goals. So next time you feel unlucky, remember to push a little harder. Your dream life is just one more effort away.
Okay, so like what was said, luck is created, luck is not given. So without further ado, let's get started with 2012 PSLE paper. Okay, so first question. There were 212089 visitors to a tourist attraction last year. Express this number to the nearest thousand. So what you want to do is you want to write down the number 212089. They want you to round off to the thousand place, so you underline the digit in the thousand place. The numbers, the digits to the right will all remain 0. The digits on the left will be kept. So to round off the only digit you have to change is this thousand place. So you will either be kept or rounded up. So whether you'll be 2 or 3 is dependent on the neighbor next door. So your neighbor next door is the digit 0, right? So digit 0 is a very small number. So as the number 2 yourself, you feel like there's no need to compete. So you can just keep it as 2. And that's why the answer is 212000. So if you look at your neighbor, right, your neighbor is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. You get to round down, which means that you get to keep the digit. But if your neighbor next door are digits that are very huge, like 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, you'll feel like a need to compete. So you will need to round up. So if you round up, you will be 3 instead. Okay, but in this case, neighbor next door is 0, so there's no need to round up. You can keep the 2. So answer will be option 3. Next, in the figure, PQRS and PSTU are rhombuses. Which of the following pairs of lines are parallel? So what are rhombuses, right? Rhombuses are just slanted squares, which means that not only all sides are the same, the opposite sides are also parallel to each other. So which means that this guy is parallel to this guy. This guy is parallel to this guy. This guy is parallel to this guy. And this guy is also parallel to this guy. Okay, so we just have to go through the different options. QR and ST. This is QR, this is ST. Are they parallel? Definitely not. Next, QR and UT. QR and UT. Are they parallel? Yep, seems like it. PQ. Next, PQ and PS. PQ is here. PS is here. Are they parallel? Definitely not. Last option, PQ and PU. So PQ is here. PU is here. Are they parallel? Nope. So answer is option 2. So just to clarify, parallel lines are basically lines that will never meet each other. So the lines can be so long. You can continue extending. You can continue extending it for as long as you like. They will never meet. This is what parallel lines are. So it will be like that. Okay, my drawing is not accurate. Something like that. Yep. So answer is option 2. Next, the opening hours of a shop are shown below. How long is the shop open each day? So for this, you would like to draw a timeline. So you started at 9:45 a.m. the shop closed at 4 p.m. So to make your life easier, you want to find out what's the duration between 9:45 a.m. to 10 a.m. first. And that's how many minutes? There is 15 minutes, good. And from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., how many hours is that? That's 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4. 6 hours, right? So that's 6 hours right there. So in total, you took 6 hours plus 15 minutes, which should give you 6 hours, 15 minutes. And so our answer is option 3. Next. What is the value of 10 divided by 2000? So for division, right, if there are zeros, you can cancel it out. So now you're left with 1 divided by 200. So for 1 divided by 200, you can split it into 2 different parts. So 1 divided by 2 first, then you divide it by 100. So 1 divided by 2 is easy. It's just half, right, which is 0.5. Then you divide it by 100. And to divide it by 100, you just have to move the decimal point to the left 2 times because there are 2 zeros. So 1, 2. So now the decimal point is here. Fill in the zeros. So you should get 0.005. And hence answer is option 4. Hope everything is good so far. Next, the figure shows an 8-point compass. Ali was facing southeast at first. He then turned 135 degrees clockwise. Which direction is he facing now? So he started off here. Then he turned clockwise. Okay, so what is clockwise, right? It's basically how your clock ticks. So your clock ticks like that, right? So if you look at your clock. Yeah, so this is how your clock moves. It moves like this. And hence, this is what clockwise direction means. So clockwise direction means like this. So clockwise direction means turn like that. And anti-clockwise is opposite of clockwise. So you're going against clockwise. So anti-clockwise is like this. Okay, so you want to turn clockwise, so you want to turn in this direction. So this is clockwise, this is anti-clockwise. So clockwise, turn in this direction. 135 degree. How do you find 135 degree? You have to understand that this is a right angle, and half of a right angle is 45 degree. So 90 degree. So 135 degree can be split into 190 degree and 145 degree. So you will end up west. You will end up facing west. So answer is option 4. So I will write it down. So 90 degree plus 45 degree is 135. So whenever you see this 135, split into a right angle and half of a right angle. Next, question 6. There are 45 cookies in a box. 27 of them have raisins while the rest are plain. What's the ratio of plain cookies to that of raisin cookies in the box? So total, we have 45 cookies. Out of these 45 cookies, 27 are raisin. So how many plain cookies are there? Just have to take the total minus the number of raisins, right? So it's 45 minus 27. This is paper 1, so you don't have calculator. So I'll work it out with you. 45 minus 27. So 5 cannot minus 7, you carry 1 over. So 15 minus 7 gives you 8. 3 minus 2 gives you 1. So it'll be 18. So now they want the ratio of plain to raisin. So ratio of plain to raisin. Yeah, 18 plain. Yeah, 27 raisins. This can be further simplified because both numbers are divisible by 3. So you get 6 is to 9. It still can be divided or like further simplified as both numbers are divisible by 3. So you'll get up to, so you'll end up with 2 is to 3, and hence the answer is option 1. Next, question 7. Part of a scale is shown below. What is the value of the reading at x? Okay, so you want to find out what x is, but before you can do that, you have to find out what one interval represents. So from here to here is 0.1, and there are 5 intervals. Intervals just means gap. So 5 gaps give you 0.1. So 1 gap represents 0.1 divided by 5, right? So there are a few ways to do it, and I'm going to show you one of the many ways to do it. So 0.1 divided by 5, 0.1 is actually just 1 divided by 10. Then I keep the divide by 5. So now I can do 1 divided by 5 first, then I divide it by 10. So the sequence doesn't matter because both are division. So what is 1 divided by 5? It's actually 0.2 divided by 10. So now if you want to divide it by 10, you just have to move the decimal point to the left. How many times? Once, because there's only 1 0. That's why one interval is 0.02. Okay, so now you know that one interval is 0.02. So to find x will just be 10 plus 0.02 plus 0.02. 10 plus 0.02 plus 0.02. That should give you 10.04. Answer is option 2. Question 8. The top half of a symmetric figure is shown below. XY is the line of symmetry. Which one of the following completes the symmetric figure? Okay, so what does symmetric figure means, right? It means that the figure on the left of XY looks the same as the figure found on the right of XY. So XY over here, this guy, acts like a mirror. So just imagine yourself, you look at yourself in the mirror. You see yourself, right? So this guy, this figure, when he looks into the mirror, he should see himself also. So what would his other self look like? It will look something like that. So there will also be 6 squares. The one nearer to the mirror is shaded. So the one nearer to the middle is shaded. Here is shaded. This one, the one nearer to the mirror is shaded. So the one nearer to the middle. So the one nearer to the mirror is also shaded. This guy is further away from the mirror. So on the other side, you also must be further away from the mirror. So which means that the figure should look something like that, with these 2 guys shaded and this guy shaded. So that figure will correspond to option 2. Next, question 9. Arrange the following fractions from the smallest to the largest. So you are given 3 fractions, and that's 4/3, 1 whole, 1/6, and 9/8. So something that is very eye-catching is that the denominator are not the same. And another thing that is very eye-catching is that these 2 are in improper fraction form, and this guy is in mixed fraction. So you have to make them all the same. So firstly, you want to convert this guy to improper first. So from mixed to improper, how do you do it, right? So from mixed to improper, how do you do it, right? The denominator will always be kept. So it's only the numerator that must be changed. How do you find the numerator? You take the whole number, multiply the denominator plus the numerator. So 1 times 6 plus 1. And that gives you 7/6. So this guy over here is 7/6. Now everything is in improper. We can change the denominator to make it all the same. So we have a denominator of 3, denominator of 6, and denominator of 8. So we just want to find the lowest common multiple. So I'll erase this. So to find the lowest common multiple, you list out the multiples first. So multiples of 3, multiples of 6, multiples of 8. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 6, 12, 18, 24, 8, 16, 24. So the very first common multiple, so the lowest common multiple is 24. So we have 4/3. In order to make the denominator become 24, we have to times 8. So 4 times 8 gives you 32. Next we have 7/6. Next we have 1 whole, 1/6, which is 7/6. This one, in order to make denominator 24, we have to times 4 times 4. So 7 times 4 gives you 28. Last but not least, we have our 9/8. To make it denominator of 24, we have to times 3 times 3. So 9 times 3 gives you 27. So now you can compare it, since all the denominator are the same. So you just have to compare this guy to this guy to this guy. So they want smallest to largest. So the first number on the left must be the smallest. And which one is the smallest? You are right, it's this guy over here. This guy is the smallest. followed by, correct, this guy over here, and followed by this guy over here. So the smallest is 9 over 8, followed by 1 whole 1/6, followed by 4/3. And hence answer is option 3. Question 10. The figure is made out of 3 squares, ABGH, BCFG, CDEF. What fraction of the figure ADEH is shaded? Okay. This is a very interesting question. Okay, so for this question, they have nicely split into 6 different triangles for you guys. So this is the first triangle, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. And this shaded part over here actually fits nicely to this part. So in total, there are 6 triangles. And how many of these 6 triangles are shaded? It's actually 1, right? So just this triangle over here is shaded. So the ratio would, so the fraction will just be number of shaded triangles over the total number of triangles. So that's just 1 over 6. And hence answer is option 2. Next, in the figure, AEC and BED are straight lines. AB equals to BC equals to CD. AED is equals to 110 degree and CDE is 30 degree. Find angle ABE. Okay, so in order to do this question, I'll pull out my mighty angles document. So there are only 6 properties that you need to know for angles. One is adjacent angles on a straight line, which means A plus B plus C will add up to 180. Good job. Next, vertically opposite angle means if you have 2 straight lines, angle A is equals to angle B and angle C is equals to angle D. Next up, we have angles at a point, which just means that angle A plus B plus C plus D will add up to 360 degrees. Next, we have our alternate angles rule. So if you see a Z over here, Z, the angles inside the Z is equivalent to each other, which means angle A is equals to angle B. Next, we have this corresponding angle rule. So if you see 2 parallel lines, this angle and this angle is the same, which means angle A is equals to angle B. Last but not least, we have our interior angles rule, which just states that if you have 2 parallel lines, this angle plus this angle will add up to, try, 180. Okay, so now we can go back to the question. First up, we are given that there are 2 straight lines. So this and these are straight lines. So can you kind of guess what rule do we need to use? We need to use our vertically opposite angle rule, which just means that if here is 110, here will also be 110. Now, if we focus on this triangle over here, we can see that it is a isosceles triangle because you have 2 same sides here. So this symbol just means that they are of the same length. Okay, which means that if this guy over here is 30, this guy over here is also 30 degree. Good job. So now we erase things to make things look a bit neater. Okay, that looks good. So now I want you to focus on this triangle over here. This triangle over here. So before we do that, can you tell me what is angle sum in a triangle? So all the angles in a triangle will add up to 180, correct? Which means that this angle plus this angle plus this angle that I'm going to find here will add up to 180. So in order to find this angle over here, which is angle BCE, that will just be equals to 180 minus 30 minus 110. So 180 minus the other 2 sides. And that should give you 40 degree. Which means that this guy over here is 40 degree. Okay. Next, we'll focus on another different triangle right now. Angel's question is actually easier if you focus on different parts at different time. So now we'll focus on this blue triangle over here. You see that it's actually isosceles too, so these two sides are the same. Which means that if this guy is 40, this guy will also be 40 degree. Good job. Next up, we'll still focus on the same triangle, but I want you to have a different perspective of this triangle right now. So like what we mentioned earlier, angle sum in a triangle will add up to 180, which means this angle plus this angle plus this angle plus this last angle will add up to 180. So basically the three corners of the triangle will add up to 180 degrees, which means to find this particular green angle, which is what the question wants, angle ABE, just have to take 180 degree minus 30 degree minus 40 degree minus 40 degree, and that should give you 80 degree. So basically 180 minus the remaining angles. And that's your answer right there. Then let me erase things a bit. So then some of you guys might be wondering why I never subtract this 110 degree, right, to find angle ABE. Because this 110 degree is not part of a corner of a triangle. So the three corners is actually this corner, corner B, and corner C. So please make sure that when you subtract, you only subtract the angles in the corner, because only the angles in the corner in the triangle add up to 180 degree. Okay, hope that's clear. So answer is just option 3. Next, question 12. Raju cut out 3 identical right-angled triangles. He joined them to form the figure PQRS shown below. RS is 12 cm, SP is 10 cm, the parameter is 36 cm. Find the area of the figure PQRS. Okay, so we are given that these 3 triangles are the same, which means that to find out the area of the whole figure, you just need to find out the area of one triangle, then you times 3, and that's the area of the whole figure. Before we can find out the area of a triangle, can you tell me what's the formula? It's just half times base times height. Good job. Okay, so we have the base. Base is here. So in this case, base is just 12 divided by 2, right? And that's 6. So half times 6 times your height. Are we given the height? No, right? Height is this guy over here. Please note that this 10 cm is not the height. So in order to find the height, we have to make use of the parameter that was given to us. You see the parameter is 36 cm. So to find the height, this guy is also the height. We just have to take 36 minus 10 minus 12, and this guy over here is 6, because that's the base. So 36 minus 10 minus 12 minus 6, which is equals to 8 cm. So the height is 8 cm, which means that we can find the area now. So it's just half times 6 times 8, which should give you 24 cm square. So each triangle is 24 cm square. And we have 3 triangles. So to find the area of the whole figure, we just have to take 24 times 3, and that should give you 72 cm square. So answer is option 1. Next, participants of a quiz must obtain at least a certain score in the first round to qualify for the second round. There were 160 participants in the first round, and the table shows the number of participants for each score. 30% of the participants did not qualify for a second round. From the table, what was the lowest score of a participant who qualified for the second round? So this is a percentage question. They told you that 30% did not qualify. And they also told you that there are a total of 160 participants. So total will always equate to 100%, which means that 100% is 160. We can go and find 10%. So we just divide it by 10 on both sides. So 160 divided by 10 simply gives you 16. So we want to find out how many participants did not qualify, right? Which means that's 30%. So 30% is 16 times 3. Because you times 3 on left hand side, you times 3 on right hand side also. And that should give you 48. So 48 participants did not qualify. From this information, how can you find out the lowest score of a participants who qualified for the second round? So those who scored 0 will definitely be the first who get disqualified. So that's already 13 participants right there. But we need to disqualify 48, right? So that's not enough. So we also have to disqualify those who score 1. So now 13 plus 70 equals to 30. We already disqualified 30, but that's still not enough because we have to disqualify 48. Slope. So now we look at the next lowest score, and that's 2 marks. So those who get 2 marks will also get disqualified. So 13 plus 18, 48. So just nice, if we disqualify those who scored 0, 1, and 2, we will have disqualified 48 participants, which is 30% of the participants. Which means the lowest score of a participant who qualified for the second round is 3 marks. So only those who scored 3 marks and more get to go for the second round. And hence answer is option 3. Next. A roll of ribbon is made out of white, grey, and black segments. Each segment is 1 cm long. The segment follows a repeated color pattern as shown below. A piece of ribbon 60 cm long is cut from the roll. In that piece, how many grey segments are there? So in order to do this question, we have to find out what the pattern is. So we have white, grey, white, black, grey. White, grey, white, black, grey. So actually, it's like that. So in one group, so we can group these together. So white, grey, white, black, grey is one group. White, grey, white, black, grey is one group. So one group is white, grey, white, black, grey. And one group is 5 cm long because there are 5 colors. So we want to find out how many groups are there first. And in total, you get 60 cm. So if you take 60 divided by 5, you find out the number of groups. 60 divided by 5 is 12. And to find out how many grey segments are there, we'll just take the total number of groups, which is 12. So number of groups, which is 12, multiplied by the number of grey segments in one group. So there's 2 grey segments in a group. So the number of grey pieces is just 12 times 2, which is 24. So answer is option 4. Next, Siti had 30 more stickers than Wendy at first. Wendy gave 12 of her stickers to Siti. Siti now had 3 times as many stickers as Wendy. How many stickers did Wendy have at first? Okay, this question is easier if you draw a model. So we have 2 characters. We have Siti and we have Wendy. So Siti had 30 stickers more than Wendy at first. So we'll draw that, whereby Siti has a bigger model than Wendy. Then after that, Wendy decided to give 12 of her stickers to Siti. So 12 is given to Siti. Then after that, in the end, Siti has 3 units while Wendy only have 1 unit. So Wendy is only left with 1 unit, but Siti has 3 units. But before we write the 3 units, I would like to draw or trace this 12 out. So 12 is also here. And this is also, if I trace this out, this is also 1 unit. Siti has 3 units in total. So if Siti has 3 units in total, and this is 1 unit, which means that the orange part adds up to 2 units. So 3 units minus 1 unit is 2 units. And these 2 units is just 12 plus 30 plus 12, which should give you 54. So 2 units is 54. 1 unit is just 54 divided by 2. Good. And that's 27. Now the question asks you how many stickers did Wendy have at first. So the question mark is actually here. At first means before Wendy gave the 12 away to Siti. So that's 1 unit plus 12, and that's just 27 plus 12, which is 39. Hence answer is option 4. Okay, so now we'll move on to paper 1 booklet B. So paper 1 booklet B is still no calculator and it's no longer MCQ question. Find the value of 108 times 70. So this is actually equals to 108 times 7 times 10. So basically you can do this part first. Then after that you get the answer for 108 times 7. You can just move the decimal point to the right one time to find the answer. One time because there's only 1 0. Okay, so you take 108 times 7. 8 times 7 gives you 56. Good. So plus 5. 0 times 7 gives you 0. Then you plus a 5, so it becomes 5. 1 times 7 gives you 7. Good. So 756. 756 times 10. So that's just 756. Move the decimal point to the right one time. So that's just 7560. Next, find the value of 11 minus 0.66. So 11 minus 0.66. You can actually put as many 000 at the back as you want because it will still stand for 11. But in this case, you'll put 2 zeros because we need it in order to do the subtraction. So now this becomes your normal subtraction. So since 0 cannot minus 6, we'll carry 1 over from here. So here become 10. Carry another 1 over, here become 9. Here become 10. So 10 minus 6 gives you 4. 9 minus 6 gives you 3. Then the decimal point, you'll carry it down. And after that, 0 minus 0 gives you 0. 1 minus 0 gives you 1. So 10.34. Next, express 7.05 as a mixed number in the simplest form. So 7.05 is actually 7 whole 5 out of 100. Why is it out of 100, right? Because there's 2 decimal places here, which means that there will be 2 zeros here. So let me erase it. So how do you simplify this? It's just 7 whole. Here can divide by 5, here can divide by 5. So 1 over 20. So answer is 7 whole 1 over 20. Next, find the value of 37 plus 16. So something that should stand out to you by now is that the denominator are not the same. So they're actually different. So we have to make the denominator the same. And what's the lowest common multiple for 7 and 6? It's actually 42. How do I get 42, right? Is you just have to list out the multiples of 7 and 6 at the side. So 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42. So the lowest common multiple is 42. Which means that we have to make the denominator 42, 42. For 7, how do you make 7 become 42? You multiply it by 6. Good. So 3 times 6 gives you 18. Next, in order to make 6 become 42, you have to times 7. Good. So 1 times 7 gives you 7. So you put a 7 here. So now it's just 18 plus 7 over 42. Denominator will always be kept since they are the same. So 18 plus 7 gives you 25 over 42. And that is actually the simplest form. Hence the answer is 25 over 42. Next, the pie chart shows how a class of 40 pupils go to school. What percentage of the class walk to school? So this one is another percentage question. So they want a percentage of the class that walk to school. So how the working will look like will be the number of students who walk to school over the total number of students times 100%. So how many students walk to school? 18, right? How many students are there in total? 40, right? Then just times 100%. So before you do it, you have to simplify things to make your life easier. So here. So 18 and 40 are both divisible by 2. So 18 divided by 2 gives you 9. 40 divided by 2 gives you 20. 100 is just 100 over 1, which means that we can cancel a 0. And 2 and 10 can also be simplified. So 2 divided by 2 gives you 1. 10 divided by 2 gives you 5. So now it's just top times top, bottom times bottom. So 9 times 5 over 1 times 1. Then the percentage sign, bring it down. So now just erase things a bit. So 9 times 5 give you 45. And 1 times 1 just give you 1. You don't have to write the 1 down. And hence the answer is 45%. Next, Aisha baked a cake and gave 1/4 of it to her friend. She cut the remainder into 5 slices. What fraction of the whole cake was each slice? So if you give 1/4 of it, how many do you have as the remainder, right? It's just 1 whole minus 1/4, which is just equals to 4 out of 4 minus 1/4, because 1 whole is 4 out of 4. So since the denominator are the same, you get to keep the denominator. 4 minus 1 gives you 3. And that's why you get 3 over 4, 3/4. Next, she cut the remainder into 5 slices. Then what fraction of the whole cake was each slice? So each slice was just the remainder split into 5 parts. So keep, change, flip, it will be 3/4. Change the sign to multiply. Flip 5 whole gives you 1 over 5. That's why the answer is top times top, top times top, which is 3 times 1 gives you 3. Bottom times bottom, 4 times 5 gives you 20. And hence answer is 3 over 20. Next, B packs 5 kg of rice into small packets. Each packet contains 200 grams of rice. How many small packets of rice are there? So first thing that should stand out to you is that the units are different. One is in kg, one is in grams. So we should always convert it to the same units. So remember your kg to gram. 1 kg is how many grams? It is 1000. Good. So from kg to gram, you times 1000. The reverse, you divide it by 1000. In this case, I want to convert kg to gram. So I will need to use this forward direction, like times 1000. So what is 5 times 1000? Just have to move the decimal point to the right 3 times. 1, 2, 3. So just 5000 grams. And each packet contains 200 grams. So how many small packets are there? Each packet is 200 grams, right? So like this. This is one packet. This is the second packet. This is the third packet. You want to find out how many packets are there. But in total, you use 5000 grams. So to find out how many packets are there, just have to take 5000 divided by 200. So zeros cancel out. 50 divided by 2 gives you 25. So it's 25. Next, Sam received $70 from his father each month for his pocket money. The line graph shows the amount of pocket money he spent each month. Question 23 asks you what's the difference between the amount spent in March and in May. So technically you just have to find out this value and this value, but for practice sake, we'll find out the value for all the months. So how do you read a line graph, right? Is that you just use your ruler, trace it all the way to the left. So this is actually 36. How did I get 36, right? It's because one interval is 2, 4, 6, 8. You must make sure that you have equal interval. The interval must be equal to each other. The gap must be the same. So this is a gap of 2. How did I get a gap of 2, right? It's because in between 0 and 10, there are 5 gaps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 gaps give you 10, which means 1 gap gives you 10 divided by 5, which is 2. And that's why each gap has a value of 2. Okay, so this, if you trace all the way to the left, you should get 30 here. So January is 36, February is 30, March is 34, April is 26, May is 42. Okay, please don't be like me. Please use a ruler. I just don't have a ruler, so that's why I'm using freehand. So now difference between March and May. So difference means minus, right? Minus March and May, right? So take a larger number. May is 42, March is 34. Larger number is 42, so I minus 34. It will give you 8, so answer is 8. Question 24. Write down all the months in which Sam spent more than half his pocket money. So his pocket money is 70, right? Pocket money is 70. Half of his pocket money is 70 divided by 2, which is $35. Let me just write properly. Okay, that's much better. So it's 35. So in which month did he spend more than 35? In January, he spent 36, which is more than 35. So January is one of them. February, he spent 30. That's not more than 35. March, he spent 34. That's also not more than 35. April, he spent 26. That's not more than 35. May, he spent 42. And that's more than 35. So it's only Jan and May. Question 25. The figure shows a rectangular glass box partly filled with unique cubes. When the box is completely filled with unique cubes, how many cubes are there altogether? Okay, so for this question, you just need to find out the number of cubes that can fit along the length, number of cubes that can fit along the breadth, and the number of cubes that can fit along the height. Then when you multiply them all together, you can find the number of cubes that can fit in total. So it's basically just finding for the volume. So for the length, number of cubes that can fit along the length is how many? So we go and count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can fit 6. What about the number of cubes that can fit along the breadth? So I'll erase this. Number of cubes that can fit along the breadth is how many? So we count. Here is 1, here is 2, here is 3, here is 4. So there's 4 of it. Now what about the height? The height is this part over here. So this is the height. So we just have to find the number of cubes that can fit along the height. So that's 1, 2, 3. 3. So we just have to multiply them together. 6, which is just the volume essentially. 6 times 4 times 3. And that should give you 72. So you can fit 72 cubes in total. Hope everything is okay so far. Okay, next. So question 26. Find the value of 2w minus 4 plus 3w over 4 when w is 5. So understand that algebra is taught at a later part of the year. But for this, you just have to replace all your w with 5. So 2w must replace with 5. So 2 times 5. So let me just recap. 2w is equals to 2 times w. It's not 2 plus w, it's not 2 minus w, it's not 2 divided by w, it's 2 times w. This one must be ingrained into your brain. Keep saying it before you sleep, after you wake up, and you will be able to memorize it. So 2w is 2 times w. So 2 times 5 minus 4 plus 3 times 5 over 4. So you have to do times and divide first, followed by plus and minus, remember? So we will do this first and do this first. So 2 times 5 gives you 10. We'll keep the minus 4. 3 times 5 gives you 15. Okay, so now 10 minus 4 is 6 plus 15 over 4. So how do you add 6 plus 15 over 4? You can make 6. You can make this 6 whole to have a denominator of 4. So to have a denominator of 4, the numerator will just be 6 times 4 plus 15 over 4. So this will give you 24 over 4 plus 15 over 4. which will equate to 39 over 4. And that's your answer, 39 over 4. So question 27. Rani has a rectangular piece of paper. She folded it along the dotted line as shown below. Find angle Y. Okay, so this is a little bit funny. So some students will start folding their paper. But essentially, what this means is just that if you unfold this paper, you will get back this rectangular piece, right? And this triangle is equal to this triangle. And this orange triangle is essentially the same as this blue triangle. Which means if here is angle Y, here is also angle Y. If here is 90, here is also 90. And this green angle over here is equal to this green angle over here because you just folded it. So it's the same thing. Okay, so now we can do the questions. First, we need to start with this part. This is a 90 degree, right? Because it's a corner of a rectangle. Which means to find angle Y, you just have to take 90 minus 26, which will give you 64 degree. So 64 degree is just 2y. To find out what y is, just take 64 degree divided by 2, which will give you 32 degree. That's your answer. The mass of a container with 15 identical metal balls is 750 grams. So identical means same. When 20 of the balls are removed, the mass of the container with the remaining balls is 510 grams. What is the mass of each metal ball? Okay, so a container with 50 balls is 750 grams. When you remove 20 balls, it becomes 510 grams. Which means these 20 balls that were removed actually weigh 750 grams minus 510 grams. This gives you 240 grams. So to find the mass of each ball, we just take 240 divided by 20. So zeros can be cancelled. So 24 divided by 2 gives you 12. And hence, one ball actually weighs 12 grams. A total of 110 people stand in a queue for concert tickets. There are at least 3 women between any 2 women. What is the largest possible number of men in the queue? Okay, so if I have 2 men here, I must have at least 3 women in between. So if I have another man here, I must have at least 3 women in between. They say at least, but since you want the largest possible number of men, right, means you want as little number of women as possible. So we'll just keep it as 3 instead of 4 or 5. So now, if you see the pattern, if I have another man here, I must have another 3 women. So the pattern is like this. I can group this up, I can group this up, I can group this up. So one group will have 4 people. So to find out how many groups are there, so total 110 people, right? So there are more people. To find out how many groups are there, such groups are there, just take 110 divided by 4. So paper 1, no calculator. Do it yourself. So 1 cannot be divided by 4. Put 0, 11. You get 11. 11 divided by 4 gives you 2. Minus 8. Remainder 3. 30 divided by 4, you get 7. Minus 28. Remainder 2. So you got 27 such groups. And you have a remainder 2, right? Which means the remainder 2 will look something like that. Man and woman. Instead of man, woman, woman, woman. There won't be a full group. Instead, you only have 2. So man and woman. Which means to find out how many men are there, you take the number of groups, multiply by the number of men in each group, which is just 1, plus the remaining 1 man that isn't in a group. It's part of the remainder. So in total, you have 28 men. Next, we have question 30. And that's our last question for paper 1. A shop sells t-shirts in 4 different sizes. The table shows the number of t-shirts sold in June for size S, M, L, but not XL. Therefore, part A, they ask you, 50% of the t-shirts sold were in size M. So how many t-shirts sold were in size XL? So 50% sold is size M. Okay, so 50% is 302. So to find 100%, which is the original, just have to take 302 times 2. Because here times 2, so here also must times 2. Left hand side times 2, right hand side also must times 2. So now the question 1, size XL, right? So you have the total number, and you have size S, size M, size L, but you don't know what's XL. But you know the total is 604. So to find XL, you just have to take 604 minus 140 minus 302 minus 95. So number of XL shirts is this. And that, if you subtract correctly, it should give you 67. Part B. In July, the number of t-shirts sold in XL remained the same. So it remained at 67. But there was an increase in the number of t-shirts sold in the other sizes. Did the percentage of the t-shirts sold in size XL increase, decrease, or remain the same from June to July? So percentage of t-shirts sold in XL, right? How do you write that in a mathematical equation, right? It's just the number of XL t-shirts over the total times 100%. So in this case, number of XL t-shirt remains the same, but the total increase. So now, if you look at this particular fraction over here, does it become smaller or bigger? It actually became smaller, right? Because when your denominator increased, the whole fraction becomes smaller. So I can give an example. If you compare half and 1 over 10, which one is bigger? Half is bigger, right? Because half a pizza, you get this much pizza. But if you split a pizza into 10 pieces, because you got 10 friends, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. One size or one slice is only this much. So half is definitely more. And which means that the percentage actually decrease. So part B answer is just decrease. And part A answer. Okay, so that's it for paper 1 PSLE 2012 paper. And I hope that you would review this video a few times and make sure you master this PSLE paper. And I will see you in paper 2 video. Hope you have a good one.